Hello, and welcome to WMW's weekly newscast, bringing you the global waste management headlines. Coming up, why waste to energy should take inspiration from Mother Nature. World's busiest airport seeks partners for on-site recycling and composting facility in Atlanta. And Surfrider CEO on why Texas needs a 5-cent bottle deposit to cut marine litter. In a World Economic Forum presentation, Dr. Matthew Silver, founder and CEO of Cambrian Innovation, asks if we should take a page out of nature's book in our treatment of wastes.
So I'm going to talk about the substantial opportunities associated with recovering energy from waste, but I first want to put it in context and have you think about the most pristine natural environment that you know. I guarantee you there's one thing missing, and that's waste. Why? Because in a natural environment, organisms have evolved to use anything that would be considered waste as a resource. In fact, they have to do this because any ecosystem that doesn't have that property is going to go extinct. So that brings me to our industrial system. I think we're all aware of the problems associated with fossil fuels and carbon dioxide pollution, but you may be less aware that we're doing this with literally every single other element we're using, whether it's carbon, phosphorus, nitrogen, metals, etc. And this raises, I think, a really important question. Can we take a page out of nature's book and use what's considered waste as a resource? Up until now, we haven't had the solutions to do it. Existing technologies for tapping waste resources have been fairly inefficient to date, but this is changing, particularly in the area of biotechnology. Now, there's another related problem, which is that we haven't had the incentives to create these kinds of solutions. There's an enormous amount of inertia in the form of capital and knowledge in the current industrial system and the current linear approach to dealing with natural resources. And what that does is it makes any conversation about limiting pollution turn into a battle between economics and the environment. So there is going to be some kind of switching cost for moving towards a more cyclical system, but I think if we take a step back, we need to think about what kind of system are we looking to create. And if you think about the industrial world as having a lot of infrastructure, I think we all know there's a lot of infrastructure yet to be built across the emerging world, and that gives us an opportunity, substantial opportunity. So in closing, what I like to say is we're sitting on a substantial resource in the form of waste that we can think of new systems to leverage this. Technologies are out there to tap it, and all it takes is a little bit of imagination and vision. So my question to all of you is, what can we do to practically enable a real industrial ecology?
Lisa Milagro, Senior Sustainability Planner at the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield-Jackson ATL, explains its recent request proposals from prospective partners in an on-site recycling and composting facility.
We're excited to announce that we are seeking partners to build and operate what will be the state-of-the-art on-site full-stream recycling facility. Green Acres ATL Energy Park will enable us to divert 90% of the airport's waste from landfills by recycling, repurposing, and remanufacturing materials that are generated by 96 million passengers annually. The creation of the Green Acres ATL Energy Park is just one of the initiatives in our plans to become one of the greenest airports in the world. Annually, Hartsfield-Jackson produces more than 9,500 tons of discarded organics and food packaging materials alone. To help lessen the environmental impact of these materials, more than 120 airport food and beverage locations are converting from traditional food packaging options to materials that are exclusively compostable and biodegradable, including plates, utensils, and cups made from biopolymers and other environmentally friendly materials. We have already installed over 300 recycling bins throughout the airport, and next year we will introduce disposal kiosks in our food court areas, which will further enable the separation of compostable waste from recyclables and landfill-bound remains. We have strategically organized the program for all key stakeholders to initiate the separation process. However, the selected Green Acres partner will be responsible for further sorting that waste at the new facility.
Surfriders Foundation CEO, Chad Nelsen, explains why he is urging beach lovers and surfers to support legislation for a 5-cent bottle deposit in Texas.
Well, I think bottle deposits in general are a great idea because, we see a lot of plastic waste either disposed of or littered, and it creates an incentive for people to turn those back in or recycle them. So it's just a really sort of a positive way to use sort of economics to drive cleanup of our coastlines and our communities and everywhere. So, you know, and obviously the places that have had bottle deposits, we've seen the benefits of them. Part of surfing for me, and I think for a lot of people, is actually communing with nature and getting out into this beautiful environment and witnessing sort of the power and the wildlife and all of that. And, you know, it's always, you know, sort of disrupts that magic when you see litter or trash in the ocean. And, you know, I try to surf about 100 days a year, and there's not a single day that I don't go surfing where I don't see plastic pollution in the ocean. You know, this has just become a massive problem.
For WMW, I'm Ben Messenger. Thanks for watching.